I really had a strong desire to open up a pizza shop. I thought it'd be so much fun to make pizza. I really wanted a pizza restaurant. I had the name and everything all figured out. Was it a bad idea? No. But it wasn't what God was calling me to do. It might have been my own idea. I don't know if it was my own idea. I don't know if it was a demon's idea, but it would have taken me in the wrong direction. I can tell you that. Which would have led me away from God. So it was important for me to have that relationship.
I think the key point here is the more time you spend with God, the more you will understand that it's Him. The more relationship you have with Him, the clearer you'll start to hear Him, is what I've found.
Number 6.
I don't know, a pizza ministry sounds pretty good.
I was just thinking.
Yeah, well, pizza ministry, yes.
I find that the things that I want when I ask for them are the things that give me the most anxiety, and those are the things that I tend to pull myself away from the most. And the things that I feel like I'm called towards, even though they might cause me struggle and pain, and even though I know I have to work at it, they're constantly nagging, they never go away. I dream about them. I can't stop talking about them. I won't let anybody dissuade me from them. And like when I was younger, I know that I didn't have the greatest relationship, but now when I watch and I pay attention to just little signs around me, I have a unique sense of humor, and I do that all the time. Look at this guy and go, "You're funny. I like how you did that. That's funny. I like how you punished me over here, but now I see the point." And that's happened my whole life. My mom used to tell me, "Don't believe the adults because God talks to children." And it stuck for years and years because adults have their own agenda. Children, they have none. So.
I don't
It
know,
always worked.
my children had lots of agendas.
Oh yeah.
Ice cream and cake.
Oh yeah.
Once you get an agenda, then
Candy.
you're no longer a child.
Those simple.
All right.
Those simple agendas.
Number 6, we can say focus 6. Christians who faithfully practice the basic disciplines of the Christian life will have a growing, powerful to gain victory over sin and accomplish great things with their life. If you don't do the basic things in your life, you will tire out. If you do not do the basic practice disciplines, you will find yourself getting tired. It is inevitable. Because you are relying on your own strength. Instead of allowing yourself to be recharged by God's Word, by being recharged by His Spirit in prayer, by being recharged by being in the fellowship with other Christians, by being recharged by worshiping, by being recharged by giving, by meditating on His Word, then you will begin to find yourself wearing out. Yes?
What are they referring to there to gain victory over sin? What is that? Because I've heard some people say, well, I don't sin anymore. I've got victory over sin.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I know
So,
because of Jesus we have victory over sin.
yeah.
So I was just curious.
I will
It's
say,
His grace that covers
I
our
will
sin.
not-
We still sin, but His grace
Yeah.
covers it.
yeah, anybody, we have victory over sin in the sense that when I die and I go to heaven, all the payment for all my sin is paid for. I think we agree on that one. But I can tell you, I still sin. Nobody here on earth does not sin.
Right.
People who say that I don't sin anymore, well,
Just
they
did.
are deceived.
Yeah.
I just gotta say this like that. They're deceived, unfortunately. And the problem is that probably builds up a little bit of pride, and they probably don't even see the sin of their pride.
Isn't
Well,
it bragging a little bit? I'm not sinful.
Well, that's what I
That's a
mean.
lie. So that's a
But
sin.
what-
And that's prideful. So that's
But this is meaning that it's will have a growing power to gain victory. So if you have a problem with yelling, a problem with sexual immorality, you begin to grow to have victory. And so while you may get better at doing those things and controlling those things, there's never gonna, we have so much sin in our life. There's never gonna be an area where we get to wipe it all the way completely out. And when we do finally think that we got all the moles over here whacked down, you know, this one pops up over here and it gets us by surprise. So it's a growing, we're growing to be more like Christ,
Right.
but while here on earth, it's never gonna be complete. Once we enter heaven, then we'll have victory over complete, it's done, that, you know.
It's a fruit of the Holy Spirit. It's called self-control. We start to develop self-control once we have the Holy Spirit in us, and we start to get a better grip on the things that we used to do, and we're not really pleased with them anymore. So we start to do them less and less and less, and that's what it is, the power to gain victory over the sin that you still commit. But God's grace covers that when you do it. You just can't keep doing it, or you'll suffer His discipline, which is out of love, it's not punishment.
So having that strength to do what God is calling you to do. If you spend little time with God, you're gonna have a little strength. You spend medium time with God, you're gonna have medium strength. You spend a lot of time with God, you're gonna have a lot more strength. But it's the investment that we're willing to make. It's just like a relationship. You wanna have a little relationship with somebody, then spend little time with them. You wanna have a lot of relationship with somebody, then spend a lot of time with them. I mean, it's the same basic principle. You wanna have a growing faith, and little faith, and invest little faith. Invest little in the basic disciplines. You wanna have a lot of faith, then invest a lot in the basic disciplines.
Or you can refer that to your wife.
Hmm?
You refer that to your wife. You know,
Oh, but in my relationship, if I wanna have a good
Yeah.
marriage, invest in the marriage.
Yeah,
Right.
and that's principle can be used.
and that's why a lot of divorces happen, because a lot of men don't invest in their relationship. It's the same problem right there.
Yeah. Number 7, walking in the Spirit, being filled with the Spirit, being spiritual is a result of disciplines. This is a process that takes time. In charismatic theology, which is not what I have, I do not believe in charismatic theology, they believe that there is a moment in time when you suddenly go from not being filled with the Spirit to suddenly being filled with the Spirit, and it's just boom, it happens. In the theology, what I believe to be scripturally correct, is that it is a process. It is as you grow, then you become spiritually filled. It's not an all at once moment. And it's interesting because the more you're filled with the Spirit, the more process, then the more that actually gets accomplished. That God can use you. So it helps to constantly be growing. Number 8 on your outline, God gives His authority to those who are faithful to the basic disciplines. That word authority, we talked about that in week 1. What's another word for authority?
Sovereignty.
Okay, yes, God's sovereignty is by sovereignty we are given authority, and therefore we have, it starts with an I,
Influence.
influence. You want to have influence, comes from God's sovereignty. God decides who He's going to give it to, especially those who are following the basic disciplines. Number 9, joy and peace are qualities that the world is desperately seeking in circumstances, experiences, and stuff. So joy and peace. But it is only given by God to those who are faithful to the basic disciplines. Why can Peter have joy and peace when he was on a boat in the middle of the sea during a storm, or he gets shipwrecked, or then ends up having to go before Caesar? He could have this joy and peace because he had a faith in his God. He trusted Him. He had the basic disciplines. He had a relationship. He knew that no matter what life threw at him, God was sovereign. God was in control. Nothing was going to screw up God's plans. And he can trust Him. So he found peace. Okay, the world looks like chaos. I don't know how we're going to make it past another 100 years, God. I think this whole world will just implode on itself because we're all gonna kill each other off. But he had faith and trusted God. Today we deal with the coronavirus. You know, I know people who are, I have a friend who text messages me every couple days, an update on all the things about the coronavirus. I think it's important for us to be prepared. But my joy and peace is not found in the circumstances of what's here on earth. In our house, we are buying, in case we did get it or something, we weren't able to get out. We have extra frozen veggies, we have rice and beans, and some other things in case, something happens, some canned stuff.
I hope
So
you're
we
buying
just
toilet paper.
What's that? What'd you say?
I hope you're buying toilet paper.
No, none of that. Don't have it. I can't find it. Yeah, I won't get into that. We went to the market or to Costco to buy toilet paper because we were running out, and there was like no toilet paper. I was like, "What is going on?" But I won't get into that. So I suddenly became aware that was a real thing. I just thought that was like a meme. We're making wise choices. We want to make sure that we have enough cat food for our cat in case we couldn't go out to the store. I want to make sure that we have enough medication in case we can't go out to go pick it up. But I'm not going to freak out about it. But I'm going to be properly prepared because my faith is in God. My trust is in Him. And those basic disciplines have taught me to trust Him even more.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I saw this meme the other day. I thought it was funny. The doctor talking to some patient. She's like, "I'm so sorry, but you got the coronavirus." And the guy's like, "Test me again. That can't be true. I'm stocked loaded with toilet paper and water at home." That's true right now. Number 10, the relationship that we have in marriage, family, and friends are most impacted by our faithfulness to the disciplines.
Yeah.
We tend to call this emotional intelligence the ability to connect and relate with other people. Some people seem to have it, some people do not. But I will tell you this, the more you have in the disciplines of God, the more you will actually be able to connect with other people. Because right here in Proverbs 16:7, when the Lord takes pleasure in anyone's way, He causes their enemies to make peace with them. When you have a close relationship with God, then even your enemies begin to like you some. You think about one of the most noteworthy men in the last century, and you can think of probably Billy Graham. Everybody, regardless if you agreed about anything about Billy Graham, they all respected him. Even his enemies, to the point where like, "Oh, he's a nice guy. I don't agree with him," but they respected him. I believe that had a large part to do because of Billy Graham's connection with God. I believe a lot of what Billy Graham did has nothing to do with his own personal abilities, but had much to do with the authority that was given to him by our sovereign God. And so therefore, he had influence. The character quality that we acquire as we faithfully practice the basic disciplines of the Christian life will bring God's blessing in every area of our life. What is God's primary goal for us as individuals?
To succeed, to reach for Him, to
To
retain.
love Him above others and then to spread the gospel for Him.
Okay? So yeah, He wants us to all to know Him, have a relationship with Him. I think where you're going with is to be more like Christ, to have the character qualities of Christ. That's what He desires for us to do. To be like Him so that the more we are like Him, the more we will enjoy Him. This is in theology is cosmology. It means that we live in a world perfectly suitable to make us more Christ-like. That all the trials that we face, all the struggles, the tornadoes, the earthquakes, everything that happens in our lives, are all to make us more Christ-like as we grow. When Mason was doing swim, When he started out swimming 2 years ago, and before he even did cross country, Mason didn't look like he does now. He was skinny, but there was no muscle, no definition. He had a lot more fat than he thought he did. And since he's now done swim for 2 years, when he ended swim, not all that long ago, about a month ago, I remember him standing across the pool, and the kid had bigger muscles than I did at his age. And I was like, there's not an ounce of fat on that kid anymore. I was thoroughly jealous. And he's got muscle because he's been working hard. Because of the strain, the fat has been weeded off of him, has been purged from him, because he's using his muscles now to keep him in shape, so it's gotten rid of the fat. In life, we become more Christ-like as we go through struggles. It slowly is weeding off the fat and making us more Christ-like. If you're doing the basic disciplines, if you are growing closer to God, if you're doing the opposite, well, then you're just eating more Oreo cookies, more Twix, more Twinkies, and that is not taking the fat off. But as we're growing with more disciplines, we're slowly removing the fat off our bodies and getting more spiritually fit.
So hungry.
Not to mention he's 16 years
Got a
old.
stew with
There
That's all
There
I'm
they are.
thinking
There's
about.
those butter cookies, Danish cookies right there.
Wait till you hit 40, Mason.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
because I'm
will
not
I
55,
ever reach
56.
that age?
yeah. You know,
I
all
can
I
eat
mean,
whatever I want right
that
now.
comment that youth is wasted on the young is so true, and I
Dude,
get
I'm
that now.
54.
So, someday every believer will stand at the judgment seat of Christ. This is important, and be rewarded for what they have done with their life. God will ask us 2 questions when we die. The first question is going to be, what did you do with my son? The second question will be, what did you do with the gifts, the time, everything that I gave you? Did you spend it on disciplines and loving God and loving others, or did you spend it on yourself? Actually, I'm sorry, for those who are following Christ, that'll be the same question. For those who aren't following Christ, It'll be a different
I hope he
conversation.
doesn't give me the quiz on the first half and the second half.
yeah.
The first half, I'm gonna fail badly.
How do we know it's true that God rewards us differently? We find it here. What? Wait a second. Oh, it's the second half of this verse. Sorry. Those who are faithful throughout their life will do very well in the final accounting. So how do we know this is true? Well, 1 Corinthians 3:13. Their work will be shown for what it is, because the day will bring it to light. It will be revealed with fire, and the fire will test the quality of each person's work. Anything that's fat will get burned off in the fire. Anything that you've done that's good will still be left standing. So we find that God and we will be rewarded for
Yeah,
doing the
I
things
know,
we're
I'm
supposed
just
to have
seeing if I
done.
spelled it.
The next
I
one
don't
here is
think I
from
did.
Paul talking to the church of Romans. So then each of us will give an account of ourselves to God. Finally, I think I have one more verse here. 1 Corinthians 15:41 through 42. This is kind of significant because not everybody catches this. The sun has one kind of splendor, the moon another, and the stars another. And the stars differ from stars in splendor. So some stars are brighter, some are not. So it will be with the resurrection of the dead. Some are going to be rewarded more, and others are not going to be rewarded more. You know, one day God's going to, Jesus, we're going to get to heaven, and Jesus is going to go, hey everybody, listen up for a second. I want to talk to you for a second. I want to tell you about Ken. I want to tell you what he did in his life, and he's going to talk about Ken. And when we're all done, we're going to pray and go, that was awesome, that's great. And then the next day he's going to come along. And God's going to say, hey, I want to talk about somebody else here. I want to talk about Jason. And then all of us are going to hear what Jason did in his life and the rewards he got. And we're all going to celebrate. Some
Then you're
people
gonna
aren't going to get
talk
talked a
about me,
whole lot.
and it's-
Yeah.
I forget.
Some
Just a
people
plain
are.
crown, no jewels, no nothing.
Some people are going to be in heaven. who just
I'll get a
sneaked
Burger
in.
King crown.
Yeah. Some people.
I'll be happy with that.
Some people, God's not going to have a whole lot to say because they're not going to have made this investment. And while it's unfortunate, I mean, I'll tell you the truth though, it is better that they're in heaven than in hell. So I mean, that's still awesome right there.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, but the rewards we're going to recognize. There's this idea that in heaven everybody's equal. Well, that's not theologically correct. In fact, they trace that back to figure out who said that first. And the first person to say that everybody in heaven is equal came from Joseph Stalin.
Yep.
Yeah, because he wants to promote communism, where everybody's supposed to be equal, and if some people are richer, then other people are gonna be poorer, and that's gonna make everybody upset, so everybody needs to be equal, and we see that in today's society, in politics. But this idea came to America first through the Unity Theological Seminary, and then it traveled on to Chicago, and it's really, its source, its origins is from communism. When Scripture tells us, no, in heaven there's different levels of rewards. Some are going to be like the sun, some are going to be like the moon, some are going to be like bright stars, some are going to be like dim stars. So where do we want to be? Do we want to be the dim star? And I think there's going to be a lot more dim stars in heaven than there's going to be suns. Than those who are to take the discipline and to learn how to be the bright star. So what are the basic disciplines? Well, the first one is Bible reading. Prayer, which you guys have been working on. Gathering, that's that idea of gathering together and encouraging each other. Worship. And giving. It is giving in all ways. Giving of our time, giving of our finances, giving of our resources. I think some people are like, oh, you know what, I want to help out the missionaries, so I'm just going to give them some money, because I don't want to take any time to invest. Other people are like, oh, I'm going to give all the time in the world, but I'm not going to give any of my resources, because I'll get time. That like offsets it. No, it's not a one or the other, it's both. We're supposed to be doing both. Seeking wisdom, self-examination, and confession of sin. And we'll be building up on all of these over the next few weeks as well. Mason, will you hit stop on the video? Thanks, bud.
46 minutes and